Hi guys, today I'm going to show you a plugin called Trackspacer which helps clear up your mixes by using an input signal from one track to reduce certain frequencies in another. For example, I have here a song which contains a vocal track and a guitar track that I recorded, but sometimes the vocals are a little bit difficult to hear because they have overlapping frequencies, creating a muddy mix. And I would like my vocals to be perfectly clear where I can hear all the different words, and so Trackspacer calculates which frequencies are coming in from my vocals and allows me to remove those frequencies from my guitar, as an example. So to do this in FL Studio, I want my guitar to have its frequencies reduced. So I'm going to put Trackspacer onto my guitar track. Okay, first thing to notice is that you can actually resize the GUI, and I'll go over the buttons in a moment, but first of all, we need to get Trackspacer ready. And to do this, we want the vocals to be an input. So I have to click on my vocals. I'm going to sidechain to the guitar track. Then I go to Trackspacer, go to the settings, VST wrapper settings, processing, and I'm going to auto map inputs. And you'll notice that this sidechain has changed to number 1, which means that we are ready to use the vocals as an input to this plugin on the guitar track. So in the middle, we have the amount button, and that is the main button that we're going to be interested in using, where it dictates how much gain reduction is actually applied to the guitar based upon the vocal input. So if we set this to 0, nothing is going to happen. So let's play this track and see what happens.
Trapped here by my jealousy, it always gets the best of me.
So what we saw there is that the input signal from the vocals is visible in blue. Now the gain reduction, which is this white line here, was not doing anything. And that's because, as I mentioned before, we have the amount set to 0. So what I'm going to do is slowly crank this up, and we'll see and hopefully hear the effect that Trackspacer is actually having.
Trapped here by my jealousy, it always gets the best of me. It always gets the best. Trapped here by my jealousy, it always gets the best of me. It always gets the best.
So you see there that there's gain reduction being applied across this entire band of frequencies according to the blue input from my vocals. So it's fairly intuitive as to how this works. But let's say that I actually want to let some of these frequencies through. For example, I want the high end of my guitar to still be present, even though there's a little bit of high frequency information in my voice. I actually want to make a deliberate choice to let some of that high end through in the guitar as well. So what I can do is change the high cut, and you'll notice it grays out a certain area of the frequencies here. And what I like is that when you hover over the frequencies, you can see the volume level and the frequency up here in the top right. And you can do the same thing on the low end side. So for example, with my guitar, I think I quite like to have the low end in to about 100 hertz, right? So now Trackspacer is actually only going to kick in this dark black square, and it's actually not going to be reducing the guitar signals outside of this dark black square. So let's have a listen. I'm going to keep the ratio down a bit. You could hear at 100% the effect was quite extreme. And I thought it was just much too extreme for what I'm looking for. I just want a little bit more vocal clarity. So I'm going to try about 10% here, and let's have a listen to this.
Trapped here by my jealousy, it always gets the best of me.
Okay. So we can hear that it's actually adding some clarity to the vocals. I can hear them a bit better than I did before. And I just hit the freeze button in the middle of that recording to demonstrate what it actually does. It just freezes the gain reduction profile at that moment in time. So you can browse at a particular moment, how is it actually affecting my signal on my guitar. So I'm going to turn that off. Just to go over a few more of the buttons on the GUI, there's this refresh button, which actually, if there are any updates available, allows you to install those updates. I'm not going to do that right now, but it's useful just for me to show you what this does. Then one of the parts I like is this button here, which I actually didn't realize was a button when I first used the plugin, but you can click on it and there's a couple of different functions, but the one that's going to be most useful for me is the default size. So this is resizable, and yeah, I really like the fact it's resizable, especially when so many people are moving up to 4K monitors, and it's great to have something that's resizable. So there is also an advanced tab here, and if you want your Trackspacer to only apply to the left or the right, you can do that using a combination of this pan button and left-right mode. You can also switch between mid-side mode. So at the moment, it's going to affect your mid-side equally, but you can make it entirely mids, and you can make it affect entirely the sides. The attack is how quickly will Trackspacer reduce the track it's on, in this case the guitar, based upon the vocal input. So basically, once it sees the vocal input, it's going to wait 5 milliseconds to start reducing the guitar. And similarly, once reduction starts, it's going to last for 30 milliseconds before releasing. So that's what the attack and the release do. Finally, the sidechain button essentially allows you to listen to the sidechain input while also applying the low cut and the high cut signals. So let's listen to this with the sidechain input on.
Trapped here by my jealousy, it always gets the best of me. It always gets the best. Trapped here by...
So hopefully you can hear there that that's just allowing you to listen to the sidechain input. In this case, my vocals are the input, and that was actually applying the high cut and the low cut filters there. So Trackspacer is great for carving out space, having more clarity in your mixes, and allowing certain instruments to punch through the mix and be more clear and audible. It's been great for my mixes, and I hope this video has been helpful to you guys. Thanks very much.